Hey buddies, it's been about a week since Iwata-san passed, and I know that those of you who follow me on Twitter have been waiting for some sort of a thought from me about it, and I've been pensive to post one. I ultimately decided that I needed to make a vlog about it because um, there's been this one feeling or thought that comes up for me lately when somebody who is important but not close to me passes. I've never actually experienced any loss to me personally. I'm profoundly lucky in that respect, but at the same time, it creates a disillusionment or sort of an inability to give myself perspective on the death of somebody that I don't personally know without feeling selfish. And that's what I wanted to try to put. And I'm not gonna try to avoid what I feel. The thing that keeps on coming up in my head every time, like one of the more recent examples, aside from Iwata, was Robin Williams. People who became mainstays in my life. People that you expect, just like your surroundings, like, a store that you see every day or something like that, that you just expect to be there. Those will always be there. These are things like the tree in the yard, and I'm not trying to trivialize these men's lives, but they just become parts of your life. Like this is how the world is. These people exist. And the thought that enters my head whenever I hear this unexpected news that they've passed is, but you weren't done yet. And I think that's what strikes me most about Iwata-san passing, is that as somebody who watches, and I'd say that the gaming industry in some respects has become like a sport almost. It's like we watch it. It's like CEOs in business, and I don't know if this is new to this generation or not. I think that possibly social media has made this a thing. Is that we watch it and cheer for it. E3, we commonly call it the Super Bowl. Things like that. It's like uh, because of that, the way that, sorry, I'm really bad at this. Because like I'm saying, I'm having trouble reconciling how selfish I feel about this. Is that I wanted to see everything that Iwata had planned for us, and despite my misgivings about Nintendo, you know what? I think that this is hard because I've never done one of these vlogs where I'm not either angry or excited. And I'm gonna try to get to that point actually more. Is that like that about Iwata-san in particular, was I was excited to see where he was going with everything. If he was to go back to the sports analogy, if he was a player on a team or in a sport, he was my favorite player. He was like my all-star, my MVP type, because I respected the man so much for what he did as a CEO and what he was as a CEO. Similar to Steve Jobs, he, unlike so many CEOs that I feel like you see today, uh, he wasn't. He was connected at the hip to the company, and I feel like personally invested in it, not just as a brand, but as uh, as his life's work. You guys know by now, or you've always known, that Iwata-san started as a programmer. He started programming games on his math computer, or whatever, the scientific computer calculator. Simple games, and then like made his way up from the trenches to be the president and eventually CEO of Nintendo. And not only that, first of all, that's remarkable in itself. That's not only unique, that's just almost unheard of for somebody to make their way, who wasn't a founder of a company, to make their way from the lower levels and echelons of the actual grunt work, the actual creative and technical work of a company, to make their way to the top. And then not only that, not on the whim of like, some passing CEO who's just like, all right, you're in charge now. They chose him, and then he turned the company around during some of its darkest days. And like I was saying about how I wanted to see where he was going was I've made no. It's been very clear lately that I haven't been completely happy, or I've shown a lot of cynicism about Nintendo's direction lately. But it's not to say that I was ever. Uh, it's selfishness. It's pure selfishness, and I'm not, and I wanted to like say during this vlog that there's not particularly anything wrong with that. It's just that something like this puts this in perspective. In a way, I suppose that like a CEOs like Iwata and creatives like Shigeru Miyamoto, they almost become like parental type figures, and we almost become like I feel as though we're like children, and not in a disparaging way, but in the way that like sort of the way that children look up to and are expectant of a parental figure, open mouths waiting to be fed, selfish but invested, uh, because we feel as though we have an invested interest, and we all have ideas of where we want Nintendo to go. We all feel like Nintendo is a company that like part belongs to us, and because of that, we're passionate in our opinions about it and where it's going. In particular, recently, with E3, there was a lot of fallout about online opinion wise about like how they performed and what they brought to the table and where Nintendo's going as a company. And I think that was the other thing that immediately struck me when I heard that Iwata passed, was that uh, that was the last thing that like publicly, that he was basically, it felt like almost apologizing for E3, as though he felt that he owed us something. To be that, uh, it just strikes me again as not only tragic, it's tragic. His fucking death is tragic. And again, I have this is the theme of this vlog, is the selfishness in the face of something that is just completely not even uh, such a trivial aspect of our lives, like our entertainment, something so profoundly important to his friends and family. Um, but at the same time, oh, I'm all over the place. But at the same time, it's like I feel as though the same things that I consider to be tragic, the fact that he felt as though he almost owed us one because of how E3 played out, um, but for that same reason, that same stage that he was on, that same constant public scrutiny that he was subject to, is the same reason that so is the same element or mechanism that has created this outpouring of sorrow, passion. Um, I think people genuinely missing the man, and I would like to say again, like people feeling disappointed and upset that they don't get to see this his story play out as far as they thought it would. Like I said, these mainstays in our lives that we just see every day, that we expect to be there forever. I expected him. I expected to maybe one day meet the man or something like that. There's always that in your idea with celebrities, especially too. Is like if they pass, you just had this idea that like maybe one day I'm gonna shake his hand or something like that. Um, but it's for the same thing that he was subject to, that he held took with remarkable grace. Uh, was the same reason that our local news covered the fact that he passed, is because, like I cynically say, like it trended on Twitter. That's why the news covered it. I don't think that we would like he was also a part of a cultural movement that he started, a cultural change where we've seen video games start to become part of the mainstream and something that everybody cares about. Of course, most of the news coverage locally was all about like the Wii, because that's what's going to people watching the news are going to be like, oh, the Wii. But he was responsible not only for the system that turned the company around, but for, I would say, a large part responsible for the fact that video games have opened up as a concept and what they are, and he redefined them as where they, what place they have in our lives. He did a lot of things, and I keep on coming back to the idea that I'm just so grateful for what great people do, and Uh, Despite my cynicism and my rants and my sound and fury about Nintendo, again, I just had so much respect for Satoru Iwata, as a man, as a CEO, as a creative, as a business leader who who changed the industry. Um, and I wish that, like, I guess it sums it up that not long after his passing, a rainbow appeared over, this is poetic, appeared over Nintendo's headquarters with these dark clouds in the background. No doubt you've seen this image. I'm an atheist, but the symbolism's not lost on me. His legacy is going to live on, and I'm excited to see, even though I'm like, even more nervous to see where Nintendo goes as a company after this. Sorry for the jump there. The battery was about to die. Uh, but as I was saying, that I'm worried about almost where Nintendo goes, because now I feel like I'm cheering for them even more. I always was, despite at any point how I might have seemed. A lot of people think I'm too cynical about Nintendo. I can criticize, but still cheer for them, and now it's like I more than ever want to see what Iwata had planned become the next turnaround for the company, and it makes, like I was saying, it makes me worried, because what if it doesn't? I'll be so disappointed. I mean, it's just, that's not how again, selfishness. That's not how I want it to play out. I want this to play out in the most beautiful way. I want to see, regardless of what happens, Iwata's legacy is a positive one, as you've seen from the way that people reacted to his death. And everything that he's done is going to continue to have a profound effect on the gaming industry and us as gamers. And overall, we can only hope to have had such like, to leave such a mark on the world as he did. Um, so, tragedy is relative, but it does strike me, as it probably does you, that the effect that something like cancer can have on uh, the lives around us, that something so little, cancer is a big thing, but something so, that something fucking, it's just so, it feels, it does, you know what, I was talking about making vlogs when I'm angry. There was a short while where I did feel angry too, and I just didn't think that was the tone I wanted to take for this vlog. But it does piss me off too. There's a lot of different emotions, and that's why it took so long to make this vlog, because I just don't know how to eloquate them very well. And but I wanted to put my thoughts out there about it too, because it did strike me, and not a lot of things do these days. So that's what there's a show and trailer on this upcoming in about a week, and you can bet that there will be an Iwata tribute. And now I have sort of, I'm looking forward to kind of summarizing his life for the entertaining format of show and trailer. I want to put together some of what he left behind, and like I was saying earlier, the advent of the internet has made him so much more larger than life, because of what he was able to like, certainly no Nintendo CEO before him leave behind some really great moments for us as a person, as like through the Nintendo Directs and we'll call them antics. So I'm looking forward to that, and I hope that you do too. But that's all I have to say right now. Thanks for watching this vlog, and I look forward, like you, to watching with us. I'm so bad at this today. Where Nintendo goes after this, and it's going to be fun. And I think the entire time we're going to every step that Nintendo makes from now on, we're going to think about Iwata and what he had to play in those moves. All right, see you later, guys.